I got given a camera and a book of the work of Don McCullens, and I just had a car accident. I was 18 years old, I was lying in a hospital bed. I was really angry because up to that point, sport was my life. I couldn't do that anymore. I had no idea what came next in my life. And suddenly these two small gifts were handed over to me, and they changed my life completely. Seeing those images of Don McCullens, that was the thing that just sparked this love of photography. And what I realized about his work, and what still stands the test of time in his work, that even though he was covering a conflict, they're very human, the pictures. And the pictures that haunted me were these photographs where you could look into people's eyes and see something beyond the situation, beyond the conflict, and just see that humanity. I got into photographing bands and doing some kind of celebrity work, but I was still interested in the people. So for me, it was not about the music, it was just about these really interesting people and doing their portraits. So I still see myself really as a portrait photographer. You know, my love is people. I'm fascinated by people, and often people in extreme situations. So weirdly, you know, being a musician is quite an extreme thing. It's not a normal life. And so when you're on the road with some of these bands, you're seeing people living a life that very few of us ever get to experience. And so it's the same with my humanitarian photography. I'm seeing people living on the edge of existence. So many photographers and filmmakers are trying to show the differences between us all. And you know, that's important, but for me, I'm interested in the similarities and what we all connect with. So one of the things I realized early on with my work is I was fascinated by small gestures, small moments, relationships. So it might be a father brushing his daughter's hair, it may be a mother washing a child. Those little moments of intimacy that we can all relate to. And that's what I see, you know, everywhere I go. I often say I'm not a photographer of war, but I'm a photographer of love. If I can take a photograph, that means somebody can look at that and they say, oh, it's just like my nephew, or that's just like me and my kid, then I've done my job, and it's to create that moment of connection that transcends religion, culture, country. I'm interested in those moments between the action. That's where most life happens in war zones. It's not that dramatic. There's these huge moments of boredom, of nothing happening. And that's, especially for refugees, that's what their life is. Their life is stuck in limbo. You know, for me, the energy comes from the people I photograph. I just got back from Mosul, and I witnessed there in this hospital run by emergency some of the worst things I think I've seen in over a decade of covering conflict. There were so many young children come in who lost limbs, who had been injured facially, and it was really, I was struggling. You know, I was struggling to take any photographs, and I didn't for a week. I just spent time getting to know some of the people there, and especially, you know, some of the teenage boys who'd lost legs. You know, I'd be taking my legs off and getting on the bed with them and showing them what had happened to me and chatting. But I was still finding, I was really struggling because it was really upsetting. Like, as I say, for me, some of the most upsetting things I've seen, I couldn't take a photograph. And then one day we were in the ward, and there's this song that's really popular with the people from Mosul. And it's become a big hit, and it's called Take Me Back to Mosul. And this kid who'd lost both his legs, who didn't speak, he never said a word, and I was sitting on the bed with him, and it came on his phone, and he started playing it. And everybody started singing it in this ward. And there was so much hope. And there was this other kid who'd lost his legs, and he did this V sign, and his hand is mangled, and he just did this V sign, and that was the first photograph I took on this trip. And that's where the energy came from them. You know, they gave me the energy and the strength to take those photographs. I go to a place and I spend time, I often be weeks before I even take my camera out, until I feel part of that community or part of that group of people, and they're the ones that give me the strength to take pictures that I don't have the strength to do.